So I want to talk to you about something called composite shapes. But before we begin, I want to review some things. So you'll notice that on the worksheet that you got and have been working on, that I make my B and my H like this. And the reason behind that is this. I need to remember that bases and heights always come together as right angles. So if I'm looking always for this right angle mark right here, then I know that that is going to be my base and my height. And so the way I think about it is my height makes the letter H, and then the base closes the H to make the B. So that's why I've got it marked like that. So I've got my base and my height. So this is a rectangle. So the formula for the area of a rectangle is the base times the height. The second shape I want to talk about are triangles. And so I have three different triangles here. I have a right triangle, I have an isosceles triangle, and then I have an obtuse triangle. And so here, once again, I've got looking for my base and my height. So in this triangle right here, I have this right angle right here. Here's a right angle here. And notice that this right angle is out here. And I call this a hanging height. It's not really, it's just outside the triangle. But if I take that and I remember what it is about triangles that makes triangles be triangles. Remember when we did the activity, we had the um, rectangle that we had previously, and it looked like this, and then we cut it in half and made it into both. So there's a rectangle, and I'm using air quotes on that. So if I look at this rectangle and I take this height here and I drag it on in, I see that that's the height of the rectangle. So because this is an obtuse triangle and the height won't go anywhere else on the inside, if I have it outside the triangle, and remember that my triangle is actually half of the rectangle that it might have started with, that's why that height is the way it is. So I have my height out here. So once again, I'm always looking for that right angle. And when I think about this obtuse triangle and I look at it, this is the height right here, but this is the base. This distance here, indicated with the dotted line, that just is connecting the base and the height, but it is not part of the measurement. So if I was going to be finding the area of this triangle that I have these green circles on, I would take the height and the base and multiply them, and then either take that answer and multiply it by half, or take that answer and divide it by 2. So triangle is area equals 1/2 base times height, or area equals base times height divided by 2, because multiplying by 1/2 is the same thing as dividing by 2. So that's triangles. Up here I have a parallelogram, and the formula for the parallelogram is area equals base times height. Again, because if I take this rectangle or triangle here and I scoot it down here to the end, that makes it be actually a rectangle. And so it's just, I think about a parallelogram as like a rectangle somebody stepped on. So you take your base and your height and you do that. And then the final figure is this trapezoid. And so I need to talk to you a little bit about a trapezoid. So a trapezoid actually has two bases. And we've got a base up here, and we have a base at the bottom. So we're going to do base, and we're going to use subscript. So that's B sub 1 plus B sub 2. And we say sub like submarine because it's under. So we take the area or the sum of the bases, base 1 plus base 2, times the height divided by 2, or base 1 plus base 2, so the sum of the bases, times the height, times 1/2. So 1/2, the sum of the bases times the height. Or you could think about it as a composite shape. So these are the formulas that I need for you to have on your worksheet. All right, so let's talk about composite shapes. So here we have it, and you should have this all filled in. And so composite shapes. So a composite shape is a shape that's made of a couple other shapes. So if I look at this shape right here, and I take it and I split it into two shapes I know how to find the area of by drawing that line right there, I see that I have a rectangle and a triangle. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to find the area of the rectangle. So area equals base times height. And the area of a triangle, area equals base times height, and I like to just divide by 2. So let's look at it. The base on this first one is 4, and the height is 3. So I'm going to do 4 times 3. Please put this on your worksheet. Then if I look at the next part, the base is 4. The height is 2. So there's my height of my rectangle. So it's 4 times 2. But because it's a triangle, divided by 2. So now I do my math. The area for my rectangle is 12. The area for my triangle is 4 times 2, which is 8, divided by 2, which is 4. So the area for this composite figure, so in your worksheet, you're going to do figure 1, figure 2. You're going to do 12 plus 4, and then the total area is 16 square feet. All right, let's look at the next one. So the next one, if I look at this figure, I see that I have a rectangle. So here's my rectangle. And we'll do that as my height and my base. So area equals base times height. So I'm going to do 70 times 48, or 48 times 70. It does not matter. And then down at the bottom, I have a trapezoid. So here I've got my other base. Remember that for a trapezoid, area is equal to B1 plus B2, so both of the bases, times the height, all divided by 2. So B1 is 33 plus 70, because this distance here, that's my basis, so that's 103, times my height. So the height of my trapezoid is 23, all divided by 2. So the first thing that I did was that I added the 33 and the 70, which gave me 103. Then I took my 103 and multiplied it by 23. And so that gave me 2,369. Then I need to take that value and divide it by 2. So 2,369 divided by 2 is 1,184 and 5/10 square centimeters. So write that down. So this was B2, this was B1, and then that, of course, was that. All right, and then the last one is this one. So when I look at this, I see 1,000 different shapes. I could think about this. The first shape that I see for sure, though, is this rectangle down here. So area equals base times height. And my height is 8. My base is 35. So I'm going to have 35, whoops, times 8. So that's that. So that's done. And then when I look at the next one, I see, oh my gosh, a hexagon. So the hexagon could be all kinds of different things. But if I take my hexagon and I divide it into 2 sections, it's actually 2 trapezoids. So remember, my formula for my area trapezoid is area equals the base 1 plus base 2. So the sum of the bases times the height divided by 2. So base 1 is 55. Base 2 is 35. So 55 and 35 make 90 times the height, which is 12. So that's 1,080 divided by 2. So the area of this is 540 square inches. The area of this is also 540 square inches. And the area of the bottom part is 280 square inches. So if I want to find the area of this composite shape, I need to add 540 for the top trapezoid plus 540 for the bottom trapezoid plus 280 for the base. So 540 times 2 is 1,080 plus 280 gives me 1,360 square inches. All right, so fill that in on your paper and then do the practice. Thank you so much.